All right, guys, today's lesson is one of my favorite subjects, bunker play, greenside bunker play. A lot of misconceptions out there when it comes to getting out of the bunker. We're going to get into it today, starting with this lie right here. I've got about a 4-foot bank right up against the face. Should be interesting. Sit tight. It's going to be a good one. I know all of you have been told at one time or another the most important thing in a bunker shot is to actually follow through. So how is it that I can hit this out without any difficulty whatsoever? Just lay that club face wide open, chop down, and there it goes. I just popped it right out. It's rolling down the slope here, and that's about 4 feet from the hole. Made it look pretty easy. For those of you ballers out there that have hit these shots, you know it's actually not that difficult. Maybe we need to understand that we use the loft of the golf club and we hit down on the golf ball in the right place, the ball's going to pop out pretty much every time. Now, I'm not suggesting for 1 second that you don't need a follow through. We're hitting out of a regular lie, of course. We're going to take advantage of that. Tilts and pressures first. When we talk about tilts, we're talking about the angle of your body as you set up to the golf ball. I would say 80% of this is in the setup. The pressures are pretty much where you put your pressure, whether it be left, middle, or back as you set up to the golf ball. So you get your tilts and pressures right, you're going to be 75% of the way there. You understand your steeps and your shallows, you're going to be 100% of the way there. Let's start with tilts and pressures first. I got to get away from this slope. It's just crazy. All right, guys, we're back to some form of normality here, not up against a 4-foot bank on the edge of the bunker. So tilts and pressures first. Tilts, what does that mean? I'm a right-handed golfer, so what I need to make sure I do is not tilt my right shoulder or drop it too much this side of the golf ball, because it's going to affect not only my path, but the more I tilt, generally the flatter the golf swing, the more inside out I'm going to be. I don't want to be hitting in and up. I want to be hitting down, okay, and slightly across the golf ball. So if I can get my trail shoulder, my right shoulder here, a little higher, a little steeper, that's going to make a world of difference. So no tilts in the bunker, okay? We want to almost feel like the shoulders are level. Of course they won't be, but feel like your shoulders are level. What about pressures? 70% of your pressure should be stacked above your lead leg, guys. We want to keep it there pretty much the whole time. We don't want to be starting here and at impact going here, and we don't want to be starting here and staying here. That is absolutely a nightmare when it comes to hitting bunker shots. So those are your tilts and your pressures. What about steeps and shallows? Well, when we talk about being steep, it boils down to this trail shoulder again in many respects. If my trail shoulder is higher, it's going to make it easier for me to have a descending motion as I hit the golf ball. We've got to get this golf club upside down in the backswing. I like to move the club head a little faster. Make sure you create an L between lead arm and shaft halfway back. Create some good angles in your backswing. The shallow side of things is going to be this golf club right here, okay? I'm going to grab my giant club. We want to strip the leading edge, open the club face, and present the bounce. Take this acute angle, get it up, open the loft of the golf club here, and use the back end of the golf club so it slides under the ball. We can create natural loft without trying to help the ball in the air, okay? So those are your steeps and shallows. Let's go ahead and talk you through the routine here. We want to make sure when we set up to it, we're wider rather than narrow. We want a stable base. You look at good bunker players, they're not real leggy as they swing, okay? We don't want legs like spaghetti noodles. So get a lot more space between your feet. You're going to see all good bunker players are nice and wide to start with. Turn this lead toe out a little bit. Makes it very, very easy to turn that chest through the golf ball. We're going to have some rotation here, back and through the golf ball. We can't just be absolutely static and just be swinging the hands. That's definitely not going to work. The ball position, we definitely want to have a lot further forward, okay? I would say just inside your left heel here, maybe 3 or 4 inches inside your left heel. Bearing in mind you're putting that pressure forward about 70%. We want to have a pretty good matchup here. The bottom line is your low point needs to be pretty much underneath the golf ball. The start of your divot, of course, is going to be 2 to 3 inches behind the golf ball. The low point is going to be at the golf ball. So we want to have your sternum just behind the ball with the ball forward. That's going to require you getting more over here. Club face open before, okay, you grip the golf club. A lot of golfers, they grip it square and then twist the club face open. Do not do that, okay? Open the club face prior to putting your hands on the golf club. Let's go ahead and get really heavy on the lead leg, guys. Got a lot of pressure on this left side, about 70%. I'm going to get this right shoulder feeling kind of steep. When I get wide, I'm going to get lower. When I get lower, I'm going to have to back up a little bit, create some room. To create room is a beautiful thing in bunker play. I see a lot of people very, very close to the golf ball, and then are doing everything they can to make room as they hit it. When we get a little wider, we get lower. We also drop the grip. You see the grip getting a little bit lower here. What we're doing here, in many respects, is we're pre-setting the golf club prior to taking the club back. In other words, if I get close and jam, like I see so many amateurs kind of getting in here real close to the golf ball, can you see here I don't have a lot of angle form between my arms and the shaft? It makes it really, really difficult to hinge the wrists and turn the club upside down, which is absolutely imperative. So here we go. Go ahead and sit up to it. Good ball position, okay? Pressure forward. Club face is open. And let's go ahead and get that club upside down. Give it a rip. Oh, I love that sound. All right, really, really happy with that. I'm carrying some speed to the finish. I'm not stopping at the golf ball. I know I demonstrated stopping at the golf ball there. I had plenty of speed into the back of the ball to get it out. But generally speaking, we want to be finishing between waist and chest high when we finish our golf swing, okay? What I don't want is people swinging the golf club above their head. This stuff here is an absolute disaster. You see, most good players are going to be finishing right around here, okay? You see that? When they finish their golf swing. I'm looking at the club face as we speak. That club face is remaining open the entire time I hit this golf shot. My lead wrist is pointing up and my grooves are facing me, just like this. So lead wrist is up, grooves facing me. This is not the same as hitting a tee shot. Tee shot, okay, requires some forearm rotation, some supination with this lead wrist in order to square the club face. More of a draw-release pattern for those of you that are struggling for distance. This is very, very different. We're in a bunker. We want to create as much loft as possible. We want to strip the leading edge, okay? We want to use more bounce. That is exactly what you need when you're in a bunker. So it is interesting because a lot of you are trying to release the club very much the same way here as you do when you're hitting from the fairway. And it is absolutely not the same release pattern. All good players know that. You're not releasing the club the same way. Okay, let's go ahead and hit one more in here. Get myself back to my original height and try that one more time. A lot of people ask, what loft do you use in the bunker? I've got a 60-degree wedge. I think if you've got slower swing speed, you're probably going to be just fine with a 56-degree wedge, maybe even a 54-degree wedge if you open the club face. If you've got higher swing speed, 58 and 60-degree wedge is going to work really well for you. You've really got to find a wedge that works for you. I like more bounce. I think bounce is your friend, okay? So my wedge has 8 degrees of bounce here. It's kind of a dual bounce situation where I can add a little bit of bounce when I set up to it. I think you want to be looking at 10, maybe 12 degrees of bounce for the vast majority of golfers. Do not come into a bunker with a low bounce wedge around 6 degrees. That is not going to be helpful. All right, let's go one more time. I'm going to go through my routine here. Make sure I get wider. Turn my left toe out, okay? I'm not terribly open. For those of you who think that you've got to be lined up miles open and be sort of cutting across it here, I'm almost square, okay? I just rotate my left toe a little bit, okay? That opens this hip a little bit as I set up to the golf ball. Notice I'm not jamming my hands forward. These are all the traps that I see, which are a disaster. When you jam your hands forward, again, look at my trail shoulder. Can you see how low my trail shoulder is? I've got no chance from here. So I like to have my hands on the back of the golf ball, okay? Not on the front, but on the back of the golf ball. And let's go ahead and hit another one here. Upside down, and then boom, right over the top of the flagstick. Pretty straightforward stuff. I hope that makes sense. So a really healthy understanding of your tilts and pressures to start with, your steeps and shallows, all right? Understanding what is shallow, okay? Understanding what is steep, okay? And no confusion there. If you have any confusion, it's going to be very problematic. Keep that lower body as stable as you can, guys. Unbelievable. Just watch great bunker players. It is crazy how much space they maintain between their knees as they pivot the club. They're not driving this pelvis, they're not coming up on their toe. If you have any questions, I always get back. If you think this could perhaps help a friend of yours that's struggling in the bunker, go ahead and share. And thank you so much for your continued support with the channel. I just hit 50,000 subscribers. Couldn't have done it without you. I'm very, very grateful. Get after it, guys. We'll talk to you next time.